What's good, everybody? What is going on? Welcome, of course, welcome to another episode of Opinionated with yours truly. Sorry, I had a bit of a mixer thing happening. I was messing with it way early, way earlier. Before I even really get kicked on for anything, I just want to make sure that I'm being heard properly because I think that's the biggest thing I need to worry about right now. Um, Outside of that, how are you guys doing today? This is, of course, on a beautiful. Sorry, talking and I'm muted. Sorry about that, guys. Hopefully you hear me. I don't even know. I don't remember how long I was even muted for. But like I said, I hope you guys, our day is actually pretty good. Um, my feed is all messed up, so I'm gonna be trying to just sort through that for a while. I got nothing really too big today. If there's anything in particular you guys would like me to look over, I'm all good with that. You already know. You should already know how to reach out to me. You could do it via Instagram, or which is Resla Opinionated, or you can also reach out to me in my email, which is wrestleropinionated@gmail.com. Like I say, got some stuff that I'm working on, but it's more tailored for next week. And I got some plans or some special segments that I'm trying to put together, but that won't take place till next month because while I do have the segments in place, that doesn't necessarily mean that I have the right people in place. So I will be working on a couple of things there. There are a couple of other people that I would like to reach out to just because it's their particular perspectives and I know they got a good mind for it. But outside of that, like I said, not much anything planned because it seems like all of my stuff is based on writing and not necessarily something for what's been happening in my algorithm because my algorithm looks like trash. It looks like trash. And if you don't believe me, if you don't believe me, hold on a moment. Hold on a moment. Let me give you a good look at what my algorithm looks like right now. So this is what my current. Let me make sure I get this right over here. This is what my. Lisa, you behaving? No, you're not behaving. Okay, here we go. Here's what my algorithm is looking like right now. This is what it looks like, folks. This is what it looks like. You see, you got some master and slave. Oh, it's Nietzsche. Nietzsche normally dulls and compute and confuses people. It's hard for a lot of people to go through that. I've got someone's live over here. Then I've got stop blaming white people. Oh, we got Jesse Lee Peterson in that one. I like gaming, so of course Max shows up. Andrew versus Destiny. There was a debate that happened. I want to say a couple of days ago. I haven't gone through it. I know Andrew has it as members only on his platform. Destiny probably has it on his platform. I haven't checked. Um, Got I've been preach up there. Like a lot of either media. Oh, Nightish is on. So Nightish is man. Nightish has probably been on for a while too. I remember him being up there for a while. At least I remember the thumbnail. At least I think the thumbnail's still up there. Uh, Food, Japan, more debating. I don't know what's going on over here. Something about the Caucasus Mountains. Oh, black people need to stop. I've got some manosphere shit. Selfish species. Like I got a lot of things that are all over the board. So until I can really sort out what's happening with my algorithm, it's just kind of all over the board right now. But before we even get started with anything else, you know what I like to do. I like to, of course, thank the people who have already walked into the building. So No Chaser was, of course, the first person to walk up in here, and I appreciate him, of course, for showing up. Trash Media Group has actually showed up. Thank you for that. Mayo, what's good? What's good, man? And then, of course, Yvette, thank you for showing up. You said you thought it was you. What did you think it was you? You said I got this. Oh, well, we'll see. Like I said, my algorithm has been all over the place. I used to use Firefox. Um, Mayo, I used to use Firefox a long time ago. I haven't used it in years. To be honest with you, like I've set up my networks. I only use two main browsers right now, and one of them is kind of ticking me off. So I don't know. Maybe I might give Firefox a try once again, but I haven't used them in quite some time. I'm not opposed to Firefox. It's just I was that guy that had like five or four or five different browsers types, and then I'm like, this is just taking up way too much bandwidth. So now I limit to myself to two. But if it means that I'll stop using Edge because Edge is now acting crazy since one of the latest updates, maybe I might want to consider seeking out Firefox again to see if it's any good, or if it's as good as I remember. I'll say it that way. So I may consider that. You said those late night discussions that, yeah, yeah. Listen, they do. They get into my algorithm. I do think that there are particular topics that I like, but I want to say that because my algorithm has been all over the place, that a lot of what I want to look for really doesn't come up. So I end up looking for some things on the internet, and some other things get a little drowned out because I'm looking at particular topics, or I'm researching particular things, or even we're say we're watching films, or I'm looking at stuff that come up through Blackity Black shows. I just want to visit the content creators that I like to just say what's up, show my support, and because of that, my algorithm also gets affected by it. Um, Actually, I should look at my second channel. No, because that's definitely gonna be a lot of manosphere stuff. So I guess I got to start pulling away from it being on my main channel and start looking for it only on my secondary channel, and maybe that'll work out best for it. You said you use private mode. Uh, is maybe there's a particular tool that you're using, a particular browser tool that you're using, because even when if I use, well, here's the thing: if I use private mode and something happens and my window goes away, I can't get all that research back. So I got to be very careful as to what I look for on private mode versus not private mode, because then I can't search for it in my history. It will no longer be there. So I get the idea of private mode, but I guess for me is like I have so many windows that if I accidentally close something out, then I'm not gonna remember what the hell I was looking for because it was all in the private window. I do have a lot of things that I'm actually trying to sort out. I just need to give myself really good time, really good coffee. I don't know why I am not enjoying the coffee that I've had of late, but because I've got a shit ton of topics, a shit ton of things that that I would like to go into. I would like to research, but I just haven't given myself a lot of time. And just so you guys don't think I'm just blowing smoke up your ass about that. I'll give you a little bit of a look at what it looks like. I'm just not going to give you the titles or anything because the internet can be a weird place where they're like, oh, that's a great title. Let me start doing something on that, and the next thing I know, the thing that I want to work on is not there. So, for those who see, this is what my notions look like. As you can see, pretty boring looking because you can't read shit anyway. But starting from some of the most base things that I have, you can see I got a lot of titles sitting up there. Some of them are set for live streams. Some of them are videos. Some of them more of a advice type. Some of them are set for like shorts because I still want to think of shorts, but I don't have many shorts anymore because I've been too busy focusing on a lot of stuff. But then look at this. Look at me scroll. These are topics set out simply between doing videos and live streams, and I'm still filling these things out because they're not even finished. I'm just still doing research on them to make sure that being I'm giving my due diligence when it comes to it. This so many topics that I have, so many things that just churn in my head. But it takes me time to have to sit there and focus on one thing, plus to have to deal with regular life, plus to come up on other people's panels, plus to have engaging conversations, plus to come up with new things that pop in my head that I add to my notions. And it's just it's a big thing. It's a big thing. I can never really hone down on something. It's a lot. So this is something that I'm going to have to sort out for myself because obviously I need to take some time, pick one topic, really do my due diligence, really hone on it, and not get distracted with a new thing that pops in my head. Also, I'm thinking about other particular titles that I got going on for myself, which are really focusing on communication. Because the one thing you guys hear me harp on a lot on is communication, 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 communication. Because they say communication rules the nation, right? And part of the issue is that a lot of us don't really recognize the kind of communication tactics that we're having with people. Some of us feel that we're just being in good faith. Uh, a lot of times we get into arguments. So one of the things that I talk to with Tom, right, is that I'm not a debater. I understand debate. I read a lot, but I'm not a debater. I am what's called a tactician. I'm a strategist. I don't necessarily think of, I'm even weird when it comes to a strategist because if it comes to actually having to win, I'm disgusting because my plots go long. I'm willing to sacrifice things in order to get the win, you know. But as far as just having a debate for the hell of having a debate, especially when logic will not prevail during it, I don't like getting into it. I am a conversationalist. That's me. I like exploring ideas. I like exploring going down that rabbit holes. I like even talking about silly shit that has no basis being in it to see if we can come down to a particular point, right? So that's me. I'm a conversationalist. And the issue with conversation, well, I wouldn't say issue. Yeah, no, actually, I will double down on it. I will say issue. The issue with conversations, right, is that you don't know when you're actually having a conversation for the hell of having a conversation, whether you're having a genuine conversation in order to explore, whether you are having a conversation that's either going to turn into an argument or a debate, because they're not quite the same. You know, you can wind up in a very heated debate with somebody, and then somebody will be like, yo, you're way too angry. You're too mad. And you're like, I'm not mad, but I thought we were having a debate. I say, oh, no, I thought we was having an argument. Oh, this is just the way how I conversate. We need to have structure as to what we know is what, because not everybody understands what's going on through our head. So if we don't lay the ground rules out ahead of time, it muddies up the water, and not everybody's playing by the same rules. This is part of the problem that we're seeing when it comes to some of the other debate platforms that we're looking at. Now, for some of you guys, you hang out more in the black relationship type areas, and they're having their type of debates right now. But for me, I also hang out in actual debate areas where there is informal and actual formal debates. And most people are not interested in formal debates. It's very boring, it's highly structured, it's timed. Like, a lot of people don't really understand it. So I think the informal debates are the ones that, especially here on the internet, are the things that people are more used to. And you have to come with a certain set of logic, you have to come with a certain set of strategy, but most of all, you have to be able to know a particular conversation, or be able to gather as much information during your conversation, during your debate, in order to make the right decision whether you wish to go forward or whether you wish to concede. And the problem that we have is that too many times we have people that engage in arguments, they don't engage in debate. Because the thing about a debate is that Unfortunately, there needs to be a winner, a loser. Someone needs to be able to make the point that actually held true, at least to the highest point, where somebody else's argument falls apart. And the problem with an argument is that people will just be wrong and strong. It doesn't matter. They won't concede, even if they look like an ass. They won't give in, and it's not good. It's not good conversation. It actually doesn't go anywhere. In fact, you find yourself either in a circular conversation, or it was never something to agree, or just it was nothing. Even it was never something to agree or disagree on from the start, because the idea was just to be contentious. So it was a waste of oxygen to the people that's actually trying to get things out of it, the people that's trying to understand. And that's the kind of style of conversation that we see today, mainly online. It's arguments, it's not even debate, because people are getting into their feelings and they're mixing information with their feelings. But then when you ask them about things in their real life, instead of being true and saying, well, this doesn't actually happen in my real life, that I'm just either talking about rhetoric or talking points or whatever, they'll lie just to try to hold their point. And then if you ask questions 3 to 4 levels deep, they fall apart. They absolutely fall apart. Or they will double down on information, and then when you ask how they came to, quote that area, doesn't work out too well for them, because you find out later on that they're blowing smoke up their ass, and you realize that you've wasted everyone's time. That's just really what it is. That's how we get into this whole aspect of people. And actually, that might just turn out to be a little bit of our upcoming stream. Maybe we can talk a little bit about that. You know what? Let's just have a conversation about conversations. Since I know a lot of you guys who are actually in this space get into this whole aspect of debate, right? People don't understand what debate actually is. And I'm not going to tell you that I'm a professional who understands what debate is, because I have a hard time just navigating between people as to what actually is debate and what actually is the argument. Because a conversation can easily turn into a debate, but a conversation can also turn into an argument. And an argument is only perceived by the person who is irritated the most. Some people, Tom, what's up? Tom is a great example. Tom can engage in a conversation, but will yell. And yelling may be perceived as being debating or arguing, because there is the perception of passion behind it, and people can lose track of information because of how it's being relayed to them. Sometimes people just don't know how to take the message because of how it's being delivered. Tone is something that gets to a lot of people. So when you're in formal debates, what you typically do not see is people raising their voice past a particular octave, because the idea is to be on point with the message, not necessarily trying to be louder than the other person putting out their message. And these are the kind of things that throw other people off. So you hear, you don't get fined. OG, what's going on? A lot of people don't understand. And I think I might want to try to break down what are some things that we may need to look out for, because I don't think a lot of people understand how conversations work and what are some of those fallacies that would come down to it. So let me put some things down in my head right now. Let's have a talk about that. So I'm gonna call this. Oh, look at that! I was already working on some of it. Hold on. So I want to ask the question: How can you how can you tell when your logic is really logical? Uh, how do you know when your facts are really trustworthy? And how can you determine How can you determine if the person you are arguing with is basing their statements on flawed logic or sketchy facts? Question mark. All right, so let's get into some practices, or rather some ideas. We're gonna spitball. We're gonna come down the mind. We're gonna get into the whole things that I like to get into because, believe it or not, I got a shit ton of books that are sitting over here, and a lot of it are just like I got chess, I got governance and compliance, I got like my other media stuff, I've got influence, I've got science fiction, I've got well, but most of the books that you guys see back here, that's most of that is my personal investment. Most of that has to do with personal investment, strategies, psychology. Uh, if anyone didn't realize the one just way over here, that already just starts off with the 48 laws of power. And then we go down from there. We go down from the intelligent investor. We go all the way down to how the design of everything, the psychology of everything. We got outliers. We've got the tipping point. You know, I like my Malcolm Gladwell books. Uh, we've got a couple of ones here. This one is dictionary when it comes to psychology. A couple of those are my journals. Never Splitting the Difference, one of my favorite books by Chris Voss. Uh, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Of course, I've got Emotional Intelligence, starting with why. Way here on the end is the 12 Rules for Life. Actually, now that I think about it, I do have a couple of strategy books that are actually sitting up there as well. Like, I'm all over the place. And I think a lot of times that because we don't necessarily think about how we engage with people, we don't understand some of the traps that we fall into. Because sometimes we believe that we're following a trend of logic, but it could and it can be logically there. You can sound it can seem sound, appear sound to you, but it might be a fallacy. Wait, oh, that's messed up. That's messed up, Tom. Don't do that. Actually, actually, LA, what's going on, man? That's messed up. So actually, let's make a case for that, right? If you guys were not there yesterday, oh man, if you guys weren't there yesterday, I'm gonna give John some credence, right? I'm gonna give John some credence, but the and we can talk about some of the things that happen with logical fallacies, and then you guys tell me which one you think works well, or which ones you think I may have fell into, or John may have fell into. Because just because I presented a particular argument does not mean that there wasn't some flaw behind my argument. And I want to know when we go down a list of things, which one you think that might apply to me? Because there's so many ways within conversations that people can lose in the structure. So the question, there was a question, there was a question that was being asked. Now I'm gonna, I like to be fair. I like to be fair as possible with all the information I can remember. There was a conversation about hoes. I'm trying to remember it all. There was a question about hoes, and there's a question about whether I guess hoes can be redeemed or they're wifeable or things like that. And John made an argument on a moral stance. And for those of you guys who know who's John the Baptist, he's a good dude. He's been on my platform. He's definitely showed up on the porch plenty of times. Love and respect the guy. There was a argument that first got put out, quote, religiously, because he likes to move on a moral doctrine, a moral and values doctrine when it comes to Christianity, because it's a big part of his faith, and he's allowed to have that. Absolutely, I like the fact that he's so hardened by his faith, but that doesn't mean that we don't become blinded when faith or even our prowess in believing that we know something that we don't. Which is why, in my mind, I'm always saying I need to be as open minded as I can, because as we get older, we get rigid on what we believe that we know, not understanding that things always change. They change for the future. The things that we think that we hold so well to the present, that we think is concrete, becomes obsolete in the future. So we have to be mindful not to tie ourselves down too much when it comes to things. It's like we say, take things with a grain of salt. Right now, the grain of salt works, but it may not be much in the future. So first he brought up religion. He changed his mind, and then he said it was his own moral beliefs. Cool. I'm not even going to say one and the same. And later on, he turned around and said, "Well, I'm going to say that because my religion is part of my moral beliefs." Okay, so now they're in tandem. They're conjoined. So I asked a particular question, which was pretty much when we're looking at the Bible, when we look at the story of Jesus, Jesus of Nazareth, where in the Bible that Jesus condemned whores, harlots, his words. And here's the obvious answer. Nowhere. Let me state why. John presented plenty of facts, plenty of arguments to go up against my case. Here's the deviation between the question and what he was presenting. He presented multiple arguments, multiple good arguments as to the teachings and the things that Jesus have said with regards to sexuality, promiscuity, things like even infidelity. But it didn't answer the question of what Jesus did. He even brought up a particular passage that he wanted me to recite, um, which talked about marriage and people being unlawful within their marital beds, and also talk when Jesus was talking to other people about the teachings that John gave, not that he gave. We have to remember the things that when people say that they saw or say that they did versus what they actually did. And let me make the comparison so that you guys can understand what I'm saying, just so you're not getting confused. There is a difference than, say, if Matthew, one of the disciples, who is with Jesus, recounting things and saying, Jesus sat and ate with the disciples. That's definitive according to Matthew's account, because he stated that he actually did so. Versus Jesus himself state that he would eat with the disciples. Stating that he would eat with the disciples does not mean that he actually ate with the disciples. There was the issue in the conversation that we were having. John would mention a whole bunch of things that Jesus had said, but nothing that Jesus that actually did. That was the issue in the conversation when I said that. So that if there's any point in structure where he actually did condemn whores, I'd like to see it. Now, there is definitely points in the Bible where Jesus had absolutely condemned people, but whores were not one of them. That was my thing. And it got lost in the idea of trying to prove otherwise. I would have absolutely agreed 1,000% that these were words that Jesus said. Yes, absolutely. Everywhere that he would bring it out, super chats, everything, all the things he said, absolutely true. But it did not point to a specific point where Jesus himself did the actual actions of condemning. Not spoke on the actions, but did the actions. And that's the part where John kept messing up on. And it's when we're having conversations, we need to pay attention to what people say. Now, there could have been, I don't know what's going on to John's mind. I don't know where the disconnect might have came through. Maybe there was a proof of pride. Hopefully not. Maybe it was a proof. There was the idea of proof because it should have been present. But it's like the whole Samuel L. Jackson thing. The evidence of absence is not the absence of evidence. You know, one of these things are not like the others, and we need to be very critical about what people say, which is why we need to turn around and repeat, which I did 5 times, what the actual words that I was looking for, because they're very important. Because we can get lost in translation, and one of the things that we should do when we're communicating is asking more questions, not to prove that someone is wrong, not to prove someone is right, but to prove that the thing that we're actually trying to expound upon is effective. So let's get into some of those points. I'm going to recite them as I've gotten some down. I know me going through my books. I'm just some things I'm going to remember, some things I'm not going to remember. Why is my I think not updating with the chat. Here we go. These are those arguments were trash. That's messed up. John made sound arguments. They just didn't come to the action. They weren't good for the question that I gave specifically. That's just what it was. John brought up some decent passages. They just didn't help the actual question. The quote is let anyone sin cast first stone. I agree with that, but it didn't answer the question. Yeah, some you're pretty much on the mark, trash. But it didn't help the question. All right, so let's go through some of the things. The first, I want to talk about logical fallacies, things that we do and we don't necessarily mess up. And chat, point out the one because I just gave you the high. For those who were there, then you already know the backlog for that. And again, we're not beating up on John, but we're using the argument in the conversation as the example as to what we're looking for. And if you find the one that's on a fallacy that I've made, let me know in the chat. So the first argument what I want to make, I want to let you guys know is the slippery slope. Now, the slippery slope fallacy is you assume that one event will lead to the other. One event will lead to one other in the series. So let's just say let's just say I have a water bottle, right? And I drink out of the water bottle and later on I'm sick. I must be sick because I drank from the water bottle. May not be true. We don't know what other events that led up to it. We don't know how clean my hands were. We don't know how clean the bottle was. We don't know if it was something that I ate the day prior. We really are unsure. We cannot have definitive proof that it was anything in the water or was the water or the bottle, whatever itself, to actually say that one event was the other, just because it's assumed. And we do that on a lot of different cases. So that's not necessarily true. Monica, hey, Mystic M, thank you for showing up. So here's one that I see a lot of people do. And actually, I want you to think about this as well, guys. When you guys visit these other spaces, I want you to take the time to actually, if you can, this is a little thought exercise for you guys as I run these down. Maybe you might want to take a pen, paper, or write it down, whatever. Try to see which is the one that your actual content creators, especially the ones that are having debates on these platforms, and see which ones that they're actually doing. Because if you can spot to recognize these things in real time and develop over time, you yourself can be very good at conversation, even debates. So the second one I want to get into is hasty generalizations. That means drawing a conclusion based on limited or biased information. Do we know for ourselves or other people that we've actually viewed who have actually drawn conclusions based on biased or limited evidence? Of course we have. We see it all over the place. We see it all over these spaces. We ourselves may be people who have actually done it ourselves. We didn't know too much about the subject matter, but we felt like we knew enough, and therefore we doubled down. A lot of people have done it. And I can tell you pretty much everything that's sitting on my list is something I've done at one point or another. Not to say I continue to do it, but it may have something I've definitely done. Let's go to number 3. I have false causality. Now, what do I mean by that? So false causality would be you assume that because this is exactly what I said before about the slippery slope. But you assume that because one event happened, that the second event must have been caused by the first one. It's really not the case. It's really not the case. And we need to really examine that. It could be something else that's just taking place that a lot of people don't really pay attention to. So number four, I had to throw up earlier. Because we all know that we hear this one. Oh, geez, this is one of your favorites. The ad hominem. This is something that we commonly see all over these platforms, all over the channels. Some of us that we all visit, and some of that we don't visit that I may be going to, or that OG goes to, or Tom goes to, whatever. Because we don't all see the same creators. But something that we can see that happens a lot within the internet debating spaces is the ad hominem attack, as we call it, attack, because this is pretty much what it is. And in case you didn't know, because this is pretty much going to be an informational episode now, the ad hominem is to criticize an ideal based on the person who gave it rather than the ideal itself. We do that and we see it a lot in these spaces. A lot. How many times have we seen someone criticize the actions of someone else rather than talk about the actual conversation they were on? Does anybody who's here still remember the debate between Thanos and Ali? You don't think there was ad homs that were thrown in that? In fact, look, we don't even have to get that specific. How many ad homs have we seen on everyone else's channel? No, because you do this. How? Let's just say it this way. How many ad homs have been thrown when it comes to me? Assuming that I have an ulterior motive when I'm asking a question. One of the things that I've said before, and I continue to say, is that I feel uncomfortable when people give me more credit than I think is due. When people think that I am smarter than I actually am, I humble myself and I say, I continue to learn all the time, but I will not claim to be smarter than someone else. I just won't. Because the moment I start making that mistakes, and the moment they can put me somewhere where they can beat me. So my idea is to always be cautious. There are just some people that keep making dumb decisions. Absolutely. As they say about people who are broken, the same thing they say about a clock. It can be right and worse twice a day. Gotta be careful of that. Number 5 would be the straw man. And the straw man, basically, it's an attack on a different position than the one being stated by your opponent. Why even bother doing that? You have a particular conversation that's being brought up, and now you're jumping out to something else. So one of the things that I noticed that we see that a lot of people don't even, I don't even think a lot of people pick up on this one. And there is an appeal to ignorance. And the appeal to ignorance is you basically assume that something must be true because it hasn't been proven false yet. Or vice versa. You believe that something is true because no one else has proven it to be untrue. I think there are a lot of people who fall into this box. Yours truly. We say that about science. Science pretty much says that what we state, that what we're doing right now is true until something has proven later on to say that it's not. And that is appeal to ignorance. A good example are people who I'm trying not to do anything specific that makes it seem like I'm being unfair to anywhere. Is people who believe that because they read a whole bunch of books, that everything that comes out of their books is good, and not to mention that everything that they read, they believe that they're smarter for it. You can read smut if you want to. That doesn't make you an intellectual person. You know, there's this ignorance that because I read a lot, I'm doing a lot, I'm a smart individual. But if you don't apply what you've even learned in the book, are you really wise, or are you just wasting time? There is an appeal to ignorance that comes with that. Here's one I also see a lot: false dilemmas. And false dilemmas, there's another one that they call this. It's a false dichotomy. That's what they call it. I can't think of saying dichotomy all the time. So I will say false dilemmas because that's the thing that makes sense to me. And a false, I almost said it already. False dilemmas. It seems like there's basically two options, and we know that the world is very vast. That we live in the gray. We live in the gray, but What a false dilemma is that you're only being presented with two options, and generally those two options are at their extreme. So a good example of this would be we have a conversation about climate change and carbon, right? And the two options that are presented to you is that, well, here's what we can do about that. We can either no longer use cars at all or destroy the world. Those are the only two ways to make things better. It's insane. When obviously that the best solution is somewhere in the middle. Now, one that I'm sure that we've all heard, we've all done even. Yeah, yeah, Yvette. Exactly. If you need me to say that again, let me say it again for you. So the problem with that is instead of looking for the highlights that are be in the middle, instead of being in the middle as to where it needs to be, instead of finding the middle ground by trying to make an understanding, I'll link it to Trump, right? How do we get rid of Trump? It's either we can defeat him in the polls. And this is being meek and light. We can defeat him in the polls because that's a great process. Or we can kill him, right? Beating him in the polls would actually be the gray area. You know what the other extreme was? Trying to stop him from actually being able to be part of the ballot in the first place. Everything that the Dems were doing earlier. That's an extreme. Look at all this extreme shit that they were doing ahead of time versus the actual gunshot that almost took him out recently. Two extremes. When the most logical one, the one that's actually been made, was to just vote with your feet, vote with your dollars. You ask, what am I drinking? I'm drinking Foster's beer, German for beer. Those the person in the channel are education, new entertainment purpose only. Absolutely. Listen, hold up. Let me make sure. Let me make sure that is still. Let me make sure that's still in my description because I swear I put that in my disclaimer. Now you got me looking for my disclaimer, guys. You can look at the disclaimer. It's in my disclaimer, guys. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna tell you, but you can take it as a grain of salt. This is not an educational program, but I am gonna provide you with whatever information. Don't think that it's law. Because everything up here is something that can be used, but that doesn't mean you will use it, that you will even notice it even after I'm telling it to you. So that was number. Well, what was I just talking about? I was talking about false dilemmas. Yes, false dilemmas. So the next one would be the things that we see a lot is circular arguments. And this is another thing that we see a lot online. There's a lot of things that we probably even experience dealing with our friends, our family, or even our coworkers. And for those who need a little bit more clarity on that, let me put my page back so I can actually see the chat. So I can see the chat. All right. So the circular argument is it's an argument that presents the claim. It's the argument that presents the claim and the evidence together. So the reason that you're able to vote is because you have rights. The reason, well, rather, the reason why you have rights is because you have rights. That's rather circular argument. It's not really expounding on things that you can actually that brought you to the area as to why you're able to have rights in the first place. Just say, I have rights because I'm an American. I have rights. Circular argument. It doesn't explain how you got your rights. that even to a point where we have to explain the fact that Americans didn't always have the right to vote. So you have to break those things down. So I will give that an example as a circular argument. Now we have one up here that it took me a while because as I was going through my book, it took me a while to figure this one out. And we have number 9, which is a sunk cost. And a sunk cost is a fallacy that you continue to do something because you already put your effort into it. An example is, so for me, I've done a sunk cost. I paid money to go to a baseball game. When the time to come to go to the baseball game, you know what I told myself? I'm gonna go to this baseball game. Despite the fact that I'm tired, despite the fact that I'm sick, that I'm really sick right now. I've been basically throwing up. I'm gonna go to this game. I literally, why? Because I've already invested the money into it. Rather than taking care of myself, I decided I'm still going to do this thing because I've already prior put investments into it. Here's another example. I already paid the money and I'm sitting through this terrible movie. I might as well finish it out, even though I'm already just halfway through this terrible movie. I might as well sit here and watch the rest of it, rather than getting your ass up and you're walking out. It's a terrible movie, but you've already invested. See, like I might as well just sit here and just suffer through it. That's a sunk cost. How many of us have done that? Be honest. How many have done that? Hmm. Oh no, I appreciate it. This is why I leave the description at the bottom of all my lives, all my videos actually. So the next one is one that we all know and not everybody wants to cop to, and that is a bandwagon. Bandwagon assumes that something must be right or good because everyone else is doing it. Hopping on the bandwagon. We've seen that all over these spaces. We've seen that in a lot of different groups. We've seen that in our work areas. Doing it because other people are doing it, not because because they are saying that it must be the right or good thing. No one actually challenging to go up against it. The next one would be a false equivalence, and the false equivalence is basically in which you have two things. It's in which you have two things that are stated to be true, two of the same things that be true that are stated to be true, but they're different. We've seen plenty of arguments where people, you know, they conflate things, where they will use a word or a definition for one thing when the word means something else, and we do that. Now, there are so many words, there are so many ways in conversation that we do this. We do this a lot. This is why we get the whole trope in the space and on these channels where we say words mean things. Because if you're not very on it, you end up mixing one thing for another. Um, I'll even say it's the fact that when we turn around and we say what was the thing that I brought up last night? Condemning. Apparently, there was a false equivalency that started off in that started off in the conversation that we were both on the same playing field. I don't think most people go about doing that. They just give their point of view on it, and the other person just has to take it. So that, which is not fair, which is why I go to definitions or I go to actual areas to try to hold a fair basis for both people, to hold a fair ground for both people to be to fight on. Hey, mama, thanks for showing up. You showed up. You're here on time. No, you're not here on time. Yeah, I'm going down a list right now. You've already missed a couple. Um, I said I mentioned a false equivalence. So Here's one: the appeal to novelty. I didn't even know that this was a thing. So the appeal to novelty is, so there are some people that believe that new trends will become true, so therefore they already invested in the future. So it's like we have crypto, right? There were people who, before crypto really became a thing, became popping, they already invested in it ahead of time. The novelty of it becoming something big is something that they turned around and they jumped into, hoping that would be a thing. Some of them banked on it, and some of them it totally dropped out, and it totally ruined them. Now, here's the thing: the inverse is also true. Believing, just because you want to believe that there are ways and beliefs in the past that were still there, doesn't mean that they're still relevant or there's still something you can still use today. So some people will use new trends to try to believe that they're true, just to make it hold. And just because trends have or were old doesn't, and they were old and false, that doesn't mean that you can still use them. So it's the novelty, it's holding on to things that, quite frankly, are either things that should be let go of or things that should not be held on to because they can be proven to be false in the future. And I think people have done that. There are people who try to bring back corduroy. You know, nobody wants to wear corduroy again. That we're not going to make that a thing. The future has proven that we don't want it. And at the same time, we can turn around and say that the novelty of everybody being equal, so therefore we make efforts towards like LGBTQ rights, you know, not knowing what the adverse effects of that's going to be. We just believe that that's going to be the new thing that will be best for society. So that will be the example that I would basically give for this. The issue is that, like, people forget so often that the future can be wrong, you know. So there's also the appeal to progress, you know. And honestly, I will put this one in John the Baptist favor, because one of the things that he likes to go up against is the, I don't even want to say go up against, it's kind of harsh to put that to put that on him. But one of the things that he mentions that's a problem is progress, you know. So the appeal to progress is, so this is when people try to believe in whatever is going to be part of the future and thinking that it's a good thing because it's quote progressive. This is something that he goes up against. And I don't disagree with it. It's no different from the whole idea of novelty. Um or rather, I would even say that the novelty part stems more from people in the past, but the progress is something that they hold on to more in the future. You know, believing that things are going to be better off for the future when they have no indication of how it's going to be. But there are also people who are holding on, dragging shit from the past that, quite frankly, may need to be let go of. Another one is, let me go look. So there's a moralistic fallacy, and the moralistic fallacy says, when a person believes that something is desirable, something that is desirable must be true. Something that is desirable must be true. And I will say that's absolutely incorrect. Not everything that is quote desirable is something that is true, something that we need. So there are people who deal with that. There is appeal to the appeal to hypocrisy. And this is when you argue against an opponent and stating that their ideals are wrong just because they are hypocrites. Now, I'm trying to think of a time of when I might have done this personally. Because even when the people in this, I think about like particular times where I've had conversations or even arguments with people on different panels, and I'm thinking this is something that I personally may have done. And you let me know in the chat if you think it's something I've done. But there are people who I've definitely have called out who I thought they were hypocrites. And it's not to say that the things that they weren't saying weren't true. I don't think they fall for everybody. But to the point where this is the reason why I say that. We talk about the exception not being the rule, but the exception does happen. The exception doesn't mean that it's not true. The exception just means it doesn't happen often. So I think in some ways we all pretty much play into the appeal of hypocrisy. You know, just because the rarity does happen doesn't mean that we can dismiss it. But we do need to call out the fact that we are speaking in generalizations. We are speaking to the averages, the law of averages. So I think a lot of us play into the appeal of hypocrisy because we don't state from the beginning, and I hate to even say that we have to turn around and say things like not all. Like people should understand what the law of averages are. But for some reason, and I say this before and I'll say it again, people are not good at math. So apparently they don't know what averages are. But that's just my thoughts though. The last one I have up here is a doomsday fallacy. And the doomsday fallacy is essentially when people believe that the most undesirable thing must be true. These are people who are highly pessimistic, in my point of view. That's the way it comes off to me. Yvette, you said people tend to think that just because the exception exists, that I I agree, but this is the reason why words matter because they're literally using the well, they don't even use it. So other people have to point it out. They don't wish to point out the example that they're giving is an exception. So that's the point where people have to point that out because most likely people are being, if you want to say it, disingenuous when they put up the exception as being something. Well, just because something happened to me, it must be happening to everybody else. That is a false claim. That is a false claim. And these are the things that we tend to see a lot of. Now, I guess I'll go through my process as I ruin my process. I'll run through my process of how I'm, and I need to develop this a lot more. But I'll go through my process right now. So how I develop when it comes to critically thinking in an argument, or at least when I think I'm engaging in an argument. I'm giving you guys a cheat code to me right now. Tell me if you see it when I'm on panels when I'm talking with people. Yeah, yeah, I'm seeing it on my end too. Yeah, I'm seeing it on my end too. That's weird. It just went from buffering to excellent. I don't know. I don't know what that's about. Yeah, that was weird. I just saw it on my end. I was like, why is that happening? That was crazy. You know what is what we're gonna do. We gonna clip a couple of things. I'll make as much bandwidth for you guys as possible. I can't be having that. That's not a thing. That is not a thing. All right. So we're good now. So what was it talking about? Critical thinking during an argument. Whew, sorry, I'm getting hot in this office. Um, that's blowing really loud. All right. So the first thing I always try to tell myself when I'm critically thinking, whether I'm engaging in a conversation that, or even an argument, is that I need to first keep an open mind. That's my first rule all the time, to keep an open mind. And for me, keeping an open mind means keeping. I have to keep in mind my own opinions, but also be aware. Also be open to learning someone else's point of views that can be contradictory to what I believe, or to what I'm personally thinking, or to whatever information that I have. That's my first thing. So that to me, number one, my first rule, number one, would be to keep an open mind. That's the first thing I'm trying to do. The second thing, of course, is asking questions. Now, I guess, how do I go about asking questions, right? I guess the first thing that I'm thinking about when asking questions is, where the hell is this person getting their information? I think that's the first thing I'm thinking about in my mind. Where is this person getting their information? Why is it that they believe what they did? And what is their response to the potential problems in their theories? So, what is there going to be the response if I turn around and say something that's going to shut them down? That's going to be contradictory to what they're thinking. These are the things that I'm typically thinking about. You said you missed like 5 minutes. 5 minutes is a long time. 5 minutes. Other thing. Oh, so that was two. So keep an open mind, ask questions, and the third part is basically I would basically evaluate based on my own knowledge. I would evaluate what I'm hearing, what I'm experiencing based on my own knowledge. And if there's something I really don't understand, I go back to point two, which is asking questions. And when I'm evaluating based on my own knowledge, if I feel like I don't have any knowledge that's going on beyond that, what I do is I research. That's what I do. I research, and I research both sides. I research into what I'm looking for, and I'm also researching to what's against it. I'm not sure if everybody. It's an easy process that I think everybody should be following, but I'm not sure if everybody follows that process. Because one of the things that happens when I am speaking to a lot of people, or whether I am training someone or whatever, is that people don't ask enough questions. They really don't. And I'm always wondering why. You have the opportunity to get as much information, to ask as much. Now you're just running off of luck, you know? What is going on? Like, I just saw a quick buffer again. I need to figure out what is happening here. It's just crazy. It's just crazy right now. Yeah, Yvette, I'm seeing it now. I'm just seeing it on my laptop. I'm like, wait, what's going on here? I don't know what's happening here. I'm looking at the rest of my network. My network looks fine. Hmm. Maybe it's a busy day today. Hmm. Not sure. Um. Anyway, these are my three thoughts when it comes to engaging in arguments. Um. And I guess the question for a lot of people, or rather the thing that I would say to people, because I tell them, like, you don't ask enough questions. You don't ask enough questions either to yourself, or you're not asking the questions of the people that you're speaking with. So I guess what I have to I guess this point I'm gonna make right now is how to ask the right questions. And I'm very I'm being very weird about this because I don't know. I'm not really sure if I can give you everything, or if I know enough to tell you these are everything that you need to do in asking the right questions. So I'll tell you what I know, and then of course you can always do your own research to come up with more things on your own. So if I have to say asking the right questions, the first one that I learned is mirroring. That's the first thing. So I would mirror what the last person said. Not, and I This is very basic. I think a lot of people do this, mirroring what the last person said, and make sure that not only that they understood, that you understood the question or what they were saying, but also you're repeating it to yourself, that you understand exactly what was being stated or asked of you. Um, the other thing is, I guess, an introduction, and the introduction is basically the question uh, that opens up the conversation, and that would be, for instance, like, just starting out. How are you? How are you is a question that opens up a conversation. Um, sounds very basic introduction. Another thing that I learned is called a full switch. And the full switch is something that a lot of people don't understand that they do, and a lot of people don't really pay attention that is done. So you have to really pay attention to it. And a full switch is just totally changing the conversation up, like fully. So let's just say we go back to that whole question of how are you? How's Jill doing? Oh, yeah, I think Jill's doing fine. Hey, by the way, how was the research paper that was coming on? Changing topics, full switch. I think the most important part of what questions to ask, or rather, how to ask the right questions, is what I said to everybody else. This is the most important thing that I would say, more than full switch, more than introduction, and more than mirroring. Follow up questions. It's just that simple. Building more of the questions that were actually asked. Asking more questions for clarity. Asking more questions to gain more information. I think a lot of people don't just do follow up questions. Fuck the mirroring at the end of the day, whatever. Just asking more for more information seems to be something that people don't want to do. And I have my do's and my don'ts, I have my do's and my don'ts that I got to be honest, I got to get better on. I haven't written down the do's and the don't list for a while. So I guess if I'm going to do this digitally, I'll tell you what my do's and my don'ts are, and I'll have to probably write them down. Um, so first of all, this is something I don't like. Even as me when I was a leader, running a team and everything, I don't like to start arguments I can't finish. There's nothing worse than you getting in the midst of an argument or a debate about something, and then something else comes up that takes you away from it, or you two are now in a bad spacing with each other because you never got to finish the conversation, or now this person, like, let's just say you were having a conversation and you started critiquing them or something, and then you got pulled away. Now they're sitting with this negative energy as to, like, what the fuck, why, whatever, and you never really get to revisit it to to finish out the conversation. So I guess the first one for me was to don't start an argument that you can't finish. I would say this for work, I would say this for your friendships, and I would say this for your relationships. Do not start something you can't finish. Like, just don't do it. I would, so we're gonna do that. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try to do a pro, and I'm gonna show a con. So that was a con. Pro. If I say don't start a conversation you can't finish, then I would also say do have a goal in mind. If you're going to have this conversation, you need to know exactly what what you would like the outcome to be. Hopefully, something positive. It doesn't always work out that way, but sometimes the goal is just to have a common understanding, to find middle ground. And I think that's also something. Sometimes it's to agree to disagree, but at least now you guys got an idea of where the conflict was actually taking place. So I think that's very important. So that was con, pro. Let's go to con. Don't don't get into an argument with the idea of winning. Don't get into an idea with the strategy of winning. I'll say that much. I say this a lot. You guys will hear me say it again. I don't aim to be right in a conversation. I aim to be effective. You guys are probably gonna get blue in the face because you're gonna hear me say that shit a lot. But it's helped out so much for me and for so long in my life. I don't get into arguments or debates to win. I get into them to be effective because I'm always trying to be mindful of the information that I'm giving during the time, and also the other people who may be hearing it. You said you asked the right questions. It's just all the wrong. Right, right. But what's the thing that we always say, Mama? There's no such thing as a wrong question. It's only wrong not to ask. It's not. Don't say it's not their fault. It's your fault when you don't ask, you know. So if she's asking it, it might sound great, but it's whatever. Uh, so what I tend to tell people, don't have the strategy of winning when you're walking in. First of all, you know, we have to be very mindful of the kind of conversation that we're having with people, and that's so one of my strategies. I don't try to put them in conversations where they're like yes or no questions. Any trap questions. Oh, I can't stand trap questions. Um, the idea is never to win. The idea is to understand during the conversation. That's most to me. That's winning. Understanding what someone else's point is, understanding how they think, understanding how they move, understanding how to predict them is more important than winning an actual conversation. Me winning, for one, doesn't make them feel better, and in fact makes them more reclusive from me, which means I get less information from them in the beginning. They're more reclusive from me, so they're not willing to share information that comes from other people. They say this is the reason why they even say keep your enemies closer than your friends. You know, that was a don't. So I would say do ask a lot of questions. The more questions you ask, the better. Even if the question seems silly, it's better that you get clarification from the person that you're speaking to than anything else. I said don't. So I'll say what I said before. Don't ask trap questions. Don't. Don't try to ask questions that will. Don't try to ask trap questions. Don't try to ask questions that will just make the situation worse. You know, yes or no. It's just a, try not to do that. Sometimes, especially when you're on these internets or when you need a definitive answer because people keep fucking moving the goalposts. Sometimes you're going to have to go that route and you're going to have to say yes or no questions. But honestly, actually, I'll just point this out real quick. A lot of you guys, if you saw the conversation that John and I were having last night, because this was the most fresh argument that I had, some people might actually think that I may have been putting a trap question on him when it wasn't. There was a definitive answer. It wasn't being done. There was the answer wasn't being provided. To be honest with you, there was one answer to it, and it just wasn't being answered. That's just what it was. It wasn't to me. It was not a trap question because I didn't even think well about the question. I just kind of gave the question out there. It wasn't until I looked up everything else out around it to turn around and say, yeah, I'm just waiting for an answer. I'm just waiting for a response because I see the response. And sometimes we the best way to get out of a particular situation that we feel is a trap question is to first just answer the question. Just answer the question and then provide context. What I don't like in trap questions is when people don't provide you the opportunity to leave context. That's when you have a person who's dealing in bad faith. I don't have a problem agreeing or disagreeing to a question, but not being able to provide context, not being able to say that the world is black is gray, and you not able to present gray matter is a problem. It's actually a problem, to be honest with you, for anyone who just believes wholeheartedly that the world is black and white. That person is automatically someone that's a disagreeable person. That person already is someone who moves in bad faith. I don't know any situation that I couldn't walk away with. I couldn't walk away from strictly because I know that world is gray. People who run to be so rigid in thinking that the world is black and white are doomed to make catastrophic mistakes. Let me say that again. People who believe that the world is black and white are only doomed to make catastrophic mistakes because they cannot see. They have blinders on. They cannot see. And those who are not willing to see cannot understand. And because they cannot understand, it typically comes with resentment. And I don't think we walk around wanting to run into people that we have conversation with just so they can resent us. So you have to be very mindful of the people that you're speaking to and to recognize some of the things that happen. Uh, what was I saying? I said ask questions. Oh, don't put people on try questions. So do look for middle ground. Look for middle ground. Look for an opportunity for both people's opinions to be heard and to acknowledge that both actual positions exist. It's okay for you to acknowledge that this person has a particular perspective and actually, mm, I'll save that one. Acknowledge that both people's acknowledge that both people's experiences, that both people's opinions are actually something that brought you both to the table in the first place. I would say say don't say things that don't say things you would believe just to win the argument. So for instance, if these are things that are not really part of your values, or these are things that are not really things that you believe in, don't say them just to win the argument. I get it. If you are an entertainer, you may say things to be the contrarian, but in real life, people shouldn't be saying things that they don't believe just to win an argument. It's my personal belief. You again, do I need to make a disclaimer graphic? Like, because in description, don't say things you don't mean, especially here on the internet, because they'll just try to hold you to things. But I think in real life, you should only go about things that you actually believe in life. You can be a walking contradiction as well. Don't get me wrong. Do whatever you want. But personally speaking, I think if you want to be considered someone who has morals and ethics, then you need to consider um, sticking to your principles and saying what's just to you. But then also understanding the fact that it's not your job to judge other people because you've made mistakes and it's all right for them to make theirs. Or to understand that there's something that you don't understand and you might be the person who's in the wrong rather than being the person who's wrong and strong. Don't say things you don't believe just to win the argument. Don't do it. It's not good. It's very bad behavior. And I guess I will say the last one is if you're going to end the conversation, do a summary. I would say do a summary of the conversation and make sure you don't just point out your point of views, but you point out the other person's point of views. Pointing out the other person's point of views puts them in a position that makes them feel like they were really heard and that you understand their points, even if you don't agree with them. That you at least understand where they were coming from. You don't have to come to a consensus. You don't always have to win. You don't have to try to convert. Some of the things that turn out to be the best for you is just the simple fact that you guys understand each other's point of view. And I think that's all I really have to say when it comes to conversation. I'm gonna have to relook this whole fucking video to see what I said. Not I'm gonna have to go through this whole video, but these are particularly the things that I've learned when it comes to communication. These are the things that I learned when it comes to fallacies. Like I said, some of them we're going to do. I'll, I don't even remember how many fallacies I gave you. A lot of them we're going to do, and then on top of that, being aware of them and adapting to a strategy is the best way to do it. Sometimes, maybe sometimes, a lot of times it's hard to monitor ourselves because, quite frankly, it's the adage of it's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame. So when you are moving around to all these different platforms and such, I want you to take a moment, write down a couple of the the logical fallacies that I've stated today, and examine. Maybe it doesn't have to be a live stream. Maybe you want to go back to an old stream that you saw that was very interesting and just take note. Take note on some of the things that were actually being said. Were they falling into these particular tropes? And then on top of that, did the other side call it out? Or did they let it rock because, quite frankly, they were just not capable of noticing it? Now that you've taken the time to study, and it's going to take you a while, you're going to have to keep doing this a few times. but you take the time to study even further, when you don't need the paper anymore, you may feel very good, very proud of yourself for being able to spot something in real time when it's happening, because then you can call it out in real time. Because many times we are hearing conversations, we hear arguments or debates, and we miss out on key instances or strategies or fallacies that are taking place because we were limited in knowledge. But now you got a little bit of knowledge from my head. It's not the knowledge of the world, but I have learned for what I could from the world. But I'll go back to Yvette. This is a disclaimer. This is from my mind. I'm not here to indoctrinate you, but you can hear what I have to say and decide what kind of action would you like for yourself. Feel free to hear what I had to say, and then with all those points, go look them up yourself. Go look them up yourself. I would actually encourage you to hear what I said and go look them up yourself to go see if what I said has any validity to it. And I think when it comes to logical fallacies, or well, how did I say it? How do I did I say how do I engage in arguments, or how do I was it, did I say how do I engage? How do I critically? I know I said how do I ask questions? How do I ask the right questions? I can't remember what I said for the other one. I don't remember it's how I engage in arguments, or how do I think in arguments? How do I critically think in arguments? There you go. That was it. I think it was gonna come to me. But yeah, there were these things. I'm gonna do a quick look at the chat because that was all in my head when I was doing all that. Yvette talking about all the extra responsibilities she getting at her job. Okay. I mean, yeah. And there's no better feeling in that you walk away and you feel like you're better off for it. There's nothing better than that. Damn, I have to think about a title for the stream now because I was just chilling and now I got into a whole thought provoking conversation. So I'm gonna have to think about the name of the stream now. Uh, okay, okay. Just letting you know, I'm not marrying Yvette. She got a judge next to her. I'm not marrying Yvette. Anyone that can manage to get a judge next to them, you don't keep them at arm's length. Arm's length. Yvette, you just heard our chances. You heard our chances now. Just letting you know that. I can't have a judge all in your ear. Can't do it. Especially if it's a woman judge, female judge. Can't have it. Nope. Can't. Sun Tzu, yeah, absolutely. Oh, I asked. Oh, no, damn, mama, you see this bullshit? Yeah, what I just said. Oh shit, fucking. I bet she got a bob cut too, doesn't she? She got the bob cut. Don't even meet the jawline. Mm, I bet. Oh, that's good though. That's good. I Now that I'm thinking about it right now, I'm probably going to make a study on because this is something I'm still learning myself. I've been learning it for a while. I just never really perfected it, and that's calibrated questions. I will. It takes me time to have to come up with calibrated questions. I wish I can do calibrated questions on the spot. It's going to take me a while before I can come up with how to do that on the spot. Maybe I need to have just some written down, but that's very that's very situational. But I would love to know how to do calibrated questions like on the spot. Mm-hmm. So you claim. Mm-hmm. All right. You. She doesn't need to be a Karen. She doesn't have to be loud, obnoxious. She just needs to have hate in her heart for men. She just needs to have a disdain for men in her back pocket, or rather her cooch. That's all. You start training under her, you start mentoring under her, because you the apprentice and she's your master. You know, she started giving you subliminal messaging. Hopefully, hopefully. Oh my goodness, guys. Everybody, take a moment and look at Yvette now. Just you don't have to say anything. Just look at Yvette now. This may be the last time we see her innocent. She may come in here with a whole hatred and being a feminist. Just you don't have to say anything to her. Just when we end the stream today, just give her a hug. Just give her a hug when we walk out the door today. Just say we wish the best for her. You don't have to say anything more. You don't have to say you hope for anything different. Just say, just give her a hug before we walk out the door today. Because we don't know, she might be coming in with a whole bunch of rhetoric. We don't know. For all we know, a couple of streams from now, she may be coming in talking about the patriarchy. Just, you know, but she don't believe that men should have the same equal rights. Hold on. Let's do this. Let's do this properly. Let's do this properly. Just saying. There is no link today, madam. I'm not. There's no link today. No link. We're going. We want the best for Yvette. We're hoping she's going to great her job. We're hoping that she's going to keep the great mindset. That when this judge opens her mouth, that she will be able to say nothing because she wants to have a great job and just not be taken up. She, in fact, that makes the judge even more deadly, folks. That makes the judge even more deadly. The fact that Yvette claiming that she's beautiful, that makes her more deadly. Cause I mean, she could be butthurt, and she doesn't understand. She's like, look at me, I'm gorgeous. Look at me, these fucking men. It could be that. We're gonna hope. We're gonna hope. We're gonna do a little bit of silence. We're gonna hope that she's not like that. Let's do a little bit of silence. All right. All right. Here's to you, Yvette. Hopefully, you got a really good judge. Hopefully, you will not conform to the legal system that will hold other people in bondage. Hopefully, you are one of the good ones. Hopefully, you got one of the good ones. Just saying. Listen. All right. You say I'm being dramatic? Listen. Tom could tell you. We've seen enough court cases, okay? Not being dramatic. Don't tell me she wears pearls, too. Don't tell me she wears pearls. Well, we're hoping so. That silence, that's for your spirit. We want you to keep your same beautiful spirit. That's all. Tom said that's a fact. Yeah. We did a moment of silence for Yvette, so we just want to make sure that she stays the same loving person that we keep here. You know, we just don't want her being tainted. We're gonna watch. We're gonna watch over her. Gonna make sure everything is good. Yes, yes. The silence, absolutely. Everything is good. You said Sally. Oh, she said you want her to be like Brian. Is that what it is? Eastside Brian. I don't. I don't think she needs pearls. I think we need to keep that out there. No, we keep that out there. Hopefully everything is good. Hopefully everything is great. We're gonna just rock with it like that. Oh shit! You see this? Look, she's already thinking about the judge's robes. Oh shit, guys! God damn! East side. Oh no! Guys, pray. Hold on. We need to have the Heavenly Sisters. Hold on. Heavenly Father, we ask you to look after one of our sisters, Yvette. She has been a loyal opinionator. She has a great and uplifting spirit. Heavenly Father, we ask that you make sure that the judge that she's mentoring her is not a staunch feminist, that she keeps her faith within the masculinity. Hopefully, she does not turn. Heavenly Father, we ask that she does not think that she's so strong that she's fucking Rosie the Riveter. Heavenly Father, we ask that you watch over Yvette, that you bless her, you give her guidance. Guidance. She does not lose her way. She does not lose her way. That's for you, Yvette. Hopefully, we hope that she doesn't fall underneath the judge's robes. We hope that she does not end up with colored hair. She doesn't end up with a bull nose ring, please. And we hope that she keeps herself very opinionated and let her know that the family's always going to be here watching over her. And we'll always keep the door open so that she can walk through gracefully in your name. Ending. Walk in grace, sister. Walk in grace. How dare you? How dare you not say I'm not genuine? I care deeply. Deeply. How dare you question my genuineness? How dare you? Absolutely genuine. Well, what's good? We're trying to you're trying to keep Sister Marie clean over here. Clean. Trying to make sure she doesn't fall to temptation. All right, you say that. You didn't hear thunder. It's just a crane. It's just a crane over here. I live in New York City. It's a crane. It's not thunder. It's very sunny out here, okay? Very sunny. Thank you, Tom. Thank you. In this church, we speak opinions only. And our opinions are based on research. We give as much facts as possible. Okay? That's what we do here. We look out for her. Corruption must not spread. All right? That's it. That's all. That's all I got. So it's all good. Oh Lord, I got other stuff that's popping up in my algorithm that looks disgusting. That's terrible. Here's the sad part. Check this out, guys. I'm not even subscribed to Sharon. He's popping up on my damn panel. He showed up in my feed. He showed up in my feed. All over my feed. I'm not even subscribed. Wow, this person is still live right now? That's crazy. I'm getting a lot of comic book stuff as well, which is weird. But okay, I'll take it. I like comic books. It's all right. Not here. Not here. You won't have a brotherhood starting with me. I won't start a brotherhood. That's not my style. That is not my thing. Did you not just see me took my hoodie off earlier? It was too hot. It's too hot. I can't do it. I'm like Batman, part time. I can't work full time as an anti-hero. I got to part time. Yeah, you go talk to Tom for that. He'll definitely start the brotherhood. He stay in hoods. He stay in his hoods. Stay in robes. That's not me. I'm a part timer. I'm like the Bruce Wayne of this shit. I'm part time. I can't be committing full time to that. I can't. It's too hot. It's too hot under them robes. It's too much turmoil under the hoods. Can't do it. Oh, I'm getting old ass videos too. This is crazy. Oh, but I'm seeing more speech stuff. I like that. I like speech. And guys, look at this. We gotta click on, if you haven't already, guys, click on the notification for OG. His coming up at 8 p.m. guys, Eastern if you're here on Eastern. His popping up on the porch. My algorithm looks like trash. Oh, I hate more dating stuff. Ugh, why is it popping up? Why is it popping up? And actually, I'm going to mark this as a topic I need to focus on later because I already made a lot of events. Eh, who would have thought? I just made that up on the fly, you guys. Made it up on the fly. And my head doesn't even hurt. Love it. One extra thing. Wait. Let's do this officially. Let's do this officially. So you guys can see it. It can be on the books, right? We're gonna officially check mark this. Ha! We're check marking it, okay? That it's something that's pretty much already off the board now. And it's named argument, logic, and logical fallacies. Huh. You know what? I think that's going to be the name of the stream too. May need a little bit of work later, but I think that's what we're going to do right now. This is no longer the chill stream. We're going to change the name of it right now. All right. Live. All right. So we do it. Fellow clan lady. Wow, that is crazy. Wow, of all things, clan lady, clan. That's wild. Oh, you will not see me review that popping balloon shit. That shit is so dead to me. I can't do it. I can't see stuff like what's that, Temptation Island and popping the balloon and what's the other shit that's up there, Bachelorette, Bachelor. Like I can't do it. The dating shit, I can't do it. I can't do it. You know, Robin came later. There was always a Batman before Robin. Robin, we'll see who'd be Robin. And there's been so many, so many iterations of Robin. You know, Robin has been male and female. Let's just skip that in there. So we don't have an official post for Robin. But so far, who would have thought? I managed to go through one of my topics and almost knock it out in the stream. I'll just have to figure out what I want to add to it to get it nice and clean. So I do have other topics. You know what? This may be weird. We might have to do this in real time right now. Let's go look through some of my other stuff to see what I might want to pull up, and I'll mention it. And you guys tell me what you think sounds interesting. Some of the titles are not great, by the way. Some of the titles they're just not great. Let me make sure I can pull the chat so I can see it large over here because I don't want to be squinting my eyes. Look over there. What? What do you mean? What conspiracy theory? How? How can you do a conspiracy theory on me? Priesthood? There's nothing, listen, there is nothing holy about me, mama. Nothing's holy about me. There's no priesthood. I drink all the wine. No one can trust the collection plate around me. What are you saying? Priesthood? I'm the guy that like they literally had to pull me up quick when they were baptizing me because my ass wasn't paying attention and I damn for sure didn't hold my breath. They baptized me. Like I was spitting out water, like coughing. Like, well, what are we saying here? What are we saying? Priesthood? Me? Not at all. We were just making sure that Yvette's soul stayed intact in case she ran across any feminism. Okay? And we can only do prayers because I can't personally throw water at her. It's a long trek. She probably had 4 sessions with the chick before I actually got down there to throw water on her. It's far travel. She's on the other side of the continent, okay? It'll take some time. No, he won't. He won't believe that. He will not believe it at all. See? Exactly. Exactly. This is why I say pray for me because I need as many points to the Heavenly Express. Guys, by the way, when you get to your beds at night, I'm not saying you need to think about me, but just mention me. Just pray for me. I need as many points as possible. I need as many points as possible. I need to prove to LA that I can earn up enough points to get there. I'm just saying. If LA and I gotta stay on the same line, I just want them to call my name and be like, you got enough points to redeem, right? I'm like, really? I'll take him. I don't think LA's saving up points. I'll just be honest with you. I don't think he's saving enough points for the LA for the Heaven Express. I'm just letting you know that right now. And I've been saving them for years. For years. I've been saving them since like my early 20s. So I'm just saying. This must be a sign. This must be a sign, folks, because I don't got nothing special going on. This must be a sign. Today is not the day. This is crazy. Got me looking in my taskbar. Got me looking for everything. I don't know why I'm having internet issues today. See, I didn't explain this to you. See, there you don't just immediately go to heaven. You have to die, and then you're kind of just you're in purgatory, and then someone just gives you like the direction, like you have to go that way to get to know. And then I always imagine like the Heavenly Express is like it's like an area like Hogwarts, right? Just a big train yard, and you gotta stand in a long line with all the other people that just died, and you gotta pay. You know, either you paid because you did enough good deeds, or you paid because you know you were extremely high up there. You know, and even the trains they have different cars. You know, like you get the first class car. You know, all the way down to to you get the cargo area. It's just big train. It runs off every every few hours or whatever, and you just have to hope that you have enough points. You have enough payments for the Heaven Express. Now, some of us don't have enough collateral, so we have to hope that we're able to get enough redemption points to redeem those points to get a ticket to the Heaven Express. I'm not saying I'm gonna sit in first class, Mama. If I'm lucky, I'll get in coach. And if it really comes down to it, I'll even sit in the cargo. Cause that's where all the dogs and the newborn and the unborn children go in the cargo area. And then I can still take the Heaven Express. And then when I get to the gates, I still gotta stand in the long line, because St. Peter gotta be the one to to go through the books to make sure that I may not even be able to get the express ramp or the elevator to the Silver City. I may have to actually take that stairway to heaven. Can I just earn enough points to get on the train? See, but if you didn't talk to LA fast enough, he may not have enough points to get on the train. The last time I might see him is in the train yard because I've been working on these points for a while. Just saying. It's like frequent flyer miles. Just work on the points for a while. Everybody that knows very spiritual is like, just say, pray for me. They're like, I'm going to pray for you. I'm like, pray for me. Please do. Multiple times, actually. Just saying. Exactly. It's like, look. He's got me. It's an extra prayer. Mama, why aren't you praying? Hmm? Instead of your ribs hurting, why aren't you praying? I could use some extra points. Oh, I won't. No, no. We're probably gonna go 2 different times. I won't have to ask him for directions. 2 different times. It's either I'm gonna meet him there first, or he gonna meet me there first. Is just it. We going 2 different times. Just saying. Because cats are devious, very selfish. That's why. I don't know very loving cats. That's why. Dogs are very honest. Very honest. They even screw in the open. They're very honest. Cats, very devious, very mischievous. You gotta question their motives. That's why. Tell me if I'm wrong. Everybody know cats are sneaky. The only time they want to share with you is when they bring in home dead things. Let's see. I got a few titles I've been writing for myself. Can you tell me which one you think I should probably be working on? It's probably gonna be a pain in the ass for me to ask this question. So, I have a paradox of unchanging values in a changing world. That was already a long title. I don't even like the title. Uh, why distinctions need to be protected? I have one that just says addictions Haven't really thought too much about it. Let me go take a look at it. Open it. Yep, I don't really have anything in there. Ooh, this might be one for you guys. This one says Africa is not poor because of colonization. I have no way how to prove it. That was just one of my titles that I put up there. Do I have anything in it? I have nothing in it. Let me say that again. Africa is not poor because of colonization. Interesting. I got another one that says, what is hate speech today? Hmm. I'm not going to mention that one because I know I'm going to do that one at some point. Uh, so here's one I actually was working on for a bit. I just haven't done anything with it. This one says, people don't care. People don't care about truth when lies are more entertaining. This is actually one I was working on to try to do for you on Wednesday, but I decided I didn't want to do it Wednesday because I want to make it a little bit more, a little better for you guys. Uh, this one can go away because that's the one I just did for you last time. Let's see. So I have another one. It's called Let's Talk. Fate's worse than death. What do you think about that one? I have another one I've been working on that I haven't quite finished yet. It's called The Devil is in the Details. You said it was a good question. Good question. Which one's a good question? Let me go back to one of the previous ones I had. What's hate speech? Um, or is it the Africa not poor because of colonization? Was it which one? Which one was it? Why distinctions need to be protected? The hate speech. What is hate? What is hate speech today? Hmm. Okay. I have one that's I haven't decided if this was going to be a video or a live stream, but it says, "Is there such a thing as safe decriminalization? Is there is such a thing? Can you safely decriminalize something?" If I wrote, did I write anything in this one? Nope. I wrote nothing in it yet. I had a couple of headline questions for myself, but I haven't written anything, any substance. Here's one. Oh, I don't have anything written in it. Here's one, Mama. You can actually be a part of this conversation if you want to. How do white people experience racism? And I have that marked as a live stream. I don't even have that marked as a video. I just don't have any material for it yet, but I got 3 questions lined in it. I'm not gonna say what questions they are, but that's one of my topics. Here's another one I have. Yvette, pay attention. Toxic femininity against women. I have it marked as a video though. I don't have it marked as a live stream. Hmm. May, you said you would love to talk about that one. I started today. I bet you do. I I got that one marked as a question. Um as a topic. I got a couple of questions under it, but I haven't done any deep diving under it. So it's marked as a live stream though. So it's something to consider. Hey, wait, we can't we won't get too far into it. If listen, tell you what, I'll read off a few more, and we can decide what's one that we can focus on. and not a boy in a man's body. Not sure where I was getting with that because I have zero content inside of it. It's on a particular race, so yeah, it might come off as seeming racist, but it's a conversation piece. I'll repeat. So I there was the video that I haven't made a decision on, which is toxic femininity against other women, and then the one that was right below it that I just mentioned was being a man and not a boy in a man's body. That's all it says. No content that I wrote for it. Here's a controversial one. I have it marked for controversial as well, and I have no research on it. The question for the title is: did colonization end too soon? These are questions that just randomly pop up in my head and they become topics, but I don't actually know if I'm going to go into them. I can tell that's a controversial one. And it says I'm buffering, and it says I'm buffering with an excellent connection. I don't know what's happening here. It literally says I have an excellent connection. It was buffering. I know, guys. I know. I'm not sure what was happening. I'm literally looking at it. It says connection is smooth, excellent, and it was still doing so. Yeah, Kai. Yeah, you better be lucky that he didn't hear that. So, white man's internet. Yeah, you know it. You know it. Listen, you absolutely know it. Yeah, listen. Like as I showed earlier, I got a lot. I had a lot of open titles. Some stuff that I just never even worked on yet. I just got the titles that I probably just heard of somewhere and it just sparked the idea in my brain and I just wrote it down, but I never worked on it. I've got so much work that I could be sitting down and just taking the time to script. Okay, so let's listen. So okay, let's make a list and then let's make a quick list and we just start voting on it. So we're gonna do a poll. I'm gonna leave it up to you. We're gonna do a poll and then we'll decide what's gonna be the next focus. All right. So I'm gonna add multiple in here. All right. What should be my next major focus? So first one, let's see. What can we work on here? Where's my mouse? Oh, right in front of me. All right. So here's gonna be the options that we got here. So we're gonna pick the big one that we already know. It's gonna be up there. How did I put that up there? Oh, okay, here we go. Kai, it's for a good cause. It was for a great cause. Don't listen to Mama. Don't listen to Mama. For a great cause. We're just making sure that we're keeping Yvette's soul intact. That's all. Making sure that she stays in good spirits. All right. That's all. Let's see. Let's do a third. Uh, I'm gonna short this one up. And hate working with my trackpad. What do you mean, Mama? What you here start? What are you here starting trouble on? I turned my head for a little bit, and you already starting trouble. What's going on here? The heck is happening? Uh oh. Hmm. I have to get rid of something. Let's see. Let's do this. Got too many words up here apparently. All right. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take this one out. How so? Well, isn't it always about weird stuff though? Isn't that the premise? Oh, is that what's happening here? Must contain these. There we go. All right, so it's being stingy with me. I can only put up with so much. What? All right, so here's the two topics. I can only put two right now, and we'll do a quick vote. So the two topics are gonna be what I'm gonna put my next focus on. My major focus. It's gonna be do white people experience racism, or is Africa poor? What that is? How did I put it? Uh, Africa is not poor because of colonization. We'll let the poll hang for a little bit. Sounded weird to even come out of my mouth the moment I realized I said that. And you guys vote between those two, and I'll know what I'm gonna put my next major focus into. And I'll set a deadline for that one. Damn. Leave this man alone. Damn. Well, I mean, I don't know about the Yetis, but aliens can't really be explained. I'm okay with that. You know, I don't ever plan on drilling into the ice wall, so it never really bothers me, or that it even is a thing. I'm too busy worried about the world that I'm living in right now. I ain't got to worry about what the hell's at the edge of it, or if there is an edge. It's just not my thing. I know I'm not that big of an explorer, so I'm not gonna be going to be the one to find out. And Godspeed on the one that goes ahead and go do it. I'm not visiting that shit. This is the problem with human beings. Just always want to touch something. Fuck it all up. I do got a couple of other things that I'm focusing on that's gonna come up, but if we focus on the one that's gonna be here on those titles, then I don't know which one I'm gonna focus on. Even if I got a good idea, I know which one is gonna be. I got a good idea what it's gonna be. So I just picked the two most controversial that I know. So we'll see. We'll see what the voting is later. Okay. Whoever that was, that's fine. All right. So I've got, like I said, I've got a bunch of stuff that I'm gonna be having to take some time to actually work through. I said I don't really have much. I didn't think I was gonna start talking about anything in reference to critical thinking. Now I'm thinking what else I could put together because we spoke about logical fallacies, and that's just a part of communication. Hmm. Tactics, maybe influence, maybe people don't know about enough about influence. And if you're talking about influence, you got to talk about manipulation. Hmm. I got to earmark that. Influence, manipulation. Huh. Kai, you said. Sorry, what's going on here? I don't know. That's a great question. How is there only four? Listen, first of all, there's not a whole lot of you. How is there only four votes? Hmm? How is that possible? How? We don't have hundreds. Hell, we don't have tens of people in this damn chat. How is it we only have four? We're missing your vote. That's what we're missing. That's what we're missing. So, right now, between one of my next major focus topics are going to be either how the white people experience racism, or or Africa is not poor because of colonization. I got six now. Damn, guys, what the? It is a landslide. It is a landslide. All right, I guess I guess I end the poll right there. It doesn't even matter. Landslide, guys. Seems like you guys want me to focus on white people experiencing racism. I'm gonna have to formulate a bunch of questions. I'm gonna have to have a little bit of research. I'm gonna have some calibrated responses, and then what I'm thinking about, folks, is that we 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 gonna have to have a whole bunch of non-coloreds up. This is gonna be a panel show. It's gonna be a panel show, people. Just letting you know right now ahead of time. It'll most likely be a panel show. I got no reason to give a whole bunch into it. I will be asking a lot of questions. Wait, it's not a. It's not when I need time. I have other things that I need to do. Um, it'll probably come up. Let's see what's today's date. We're the 27th. It'll probably be on the 7th. I can probably work it into the 7th. Like I said, I do have a couple of things I want to work on, but I can probably work it into the 7th. I do need some time to write a bunch of stuff to make sure that I get some information, that I have some very calibrated questions. We'll see about that. Highly, highly doubt it, but we'll see. Well, that's wishful thinking, and yeah. So I'll probably aim for the 7th. The homies of that. I don't like holding on to dates and then it doesn't really turn out and people get disappointed. But I'm most likely I'll probably gonna, once I get everything settled out real quick. I'll most likely link it to the community page and then I'll keep mentioning it for that particular show. That'll be an open panel. So I guess if you know white folks that might want to participate in it, since it is by a landslide that you guys want to see that topic, then we will get into it. And I will give you as much controversial and thought provoking information as possible. And then we'll have the white folks disseminate amongst each other what might be true, what might be false, and what might be the perspectives of other people who may even be non-white. Is that cool? Does that sound good? Hmm? To y'all's folks? Hmm? Yeah, like I said, for the most part, my Wednesday shows are more my not structure, but more my focus shows. And then I'm trying to figure out everything that's been happening on social media for my Saturday shows. Um, I didn't even know I was gonna get into really my thought process as to things today. Like I said, I didn't really have anything focused because my freaking feed looks absolutely atrocious. So yeah. So next, my next show will be on Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern, of course, and I'll have something up there for as well. That's going to be something I'm more focused on because I did already some writing on it, and then yeah, I'll have to figure out something for Saturday, and between between next week's show and whatever, probably the next Wednesday, I'll have things sorted out. So most likely it will be a Wednesday show, folks, and that will be the one that we focus on, which is going to be how do white people experience racism. So I'm gonna have as much information as I can. There's gonna be a lot of questions. There's gonna be a lot of people giving their own perspectives, and come one, come all, folks. Whether you are colored or not, as people like to say, colored or not. I think that'll be a good perspective. It's going to be an open panel. So if you do have other people that you know that want to come through, I have particular rules when it comes to my channel. Number one, if you are a person who is not likely, I mean, I don't force people to be on camera. This is just the way how it is now, especially if we're early in the game. I will say that if you don't want to be on camera, you stay the fuck off camera. Don't decide to do a nip slip or whatever later on. You stay the fuck off camera. Yeah, I do need to verify you, whatever, beforehand, so you don't have to have your Sunday's best on or wearing your Wednesdays. For my Japanese people, you know what your Wednesdays are. And on top of that, just be advised, folks, because I hold this rule for everybody, and that's this: when you decide to open your mouth, you gotta be careful because you tell the world who you are. I think it's gonna be a good part for conversations. Hey, listen, if they want to show boobs backstage, I am fine with that. Just not on stream. Not on stream. And that's my thing. Not on stream. Boobs backstage are absolutely fine. That in fact, Kai, that might be the price of admission. Just Listen, I'm just saying. Just saying. What is this? What is this? What? We over here sharing food recipes and such. Where's my chips? Yeah, it's nice to know that you're very excited, but you're not talking about sharing with no one else here. What are we doing here? Hey, listen, to Osby color. Just saying. No, 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 no. That's an overpayment. We do installments only. That's just paying too much. It definitely can't be live. Ugh. And I listen. I think it'll be I think it'll be a good stream. I'll definitely give Hard a lot of questions. Listen, don't expect it to be easy. It's you know what? Expect it to be easy. Don't expect it to be simple. I'm going to really dig through when it comes to a lot of conversation pieces. We know for sure, to the white folks, we know for sure that there are plenty of black people who have lots and lots of questions that we're hoping could be answered. And then also on your perspective, how you feel about that, but also how have you been displaced? How have you, have dealt with controversies? How do you deal with stigmas? I don't think that most people want to take the time to actually hear the opposite people's perspective on it. Don't give it in the chat. Hold it, bottle it, hold it, bottle it. Hold on to that anger. Hold on to that frustration. Because we'll have a conversation about it. We absolutely will. I'm sure it'll be a good time. We'll argue amongst each other. We'll have our own perspective on it. We may not even be at a kumbaya moment. We may have to say, well, this is how I experience it. Well, that's not how I experience it. Bring them all. I need your uppity whites. I need your white trash. I need them all. Bring them all. I need your well fed whites. And I need your hungry whites. I need them all to the panel. So you'll know. And I'll put it in the community post, definitely when it's coming up. And y'all send out the flare, or you do the bonfire, whatever the hell y'all do, because us blacks, we don't do that. We don't get it. And you let them know. You let them know. You show up. We gonna have a conversation. But like I said, you gotta be able to substantiate your point. You gotta be able to hold your arguments, because I'm not letting you off the hook. I'm not letting you off the hook. The chat's not gonna let you off the hook. The comment section is not gonna let you off the hook. So that's gonna be that. And that'll be the stream for that particular time. I can't wait to put up a lot of research. And by the way, this is not for the white folks. To all you colors, to all the blacks, the Hispanics, the Asians, yes, to you hidden Asians. You know what you can do, right? To make sure that we have a conversation and we hold some of these white folks into actually answering all the questions. Yes, right. You can reach out to me on multiple mediums, especially at Resla Opinionated on Instagram, and of course, Resla Opinionated at gmail.com. Send me all your material. I'm going to review it first. I don't like to be biased. I need to be fair. I don't want to put them in the figure four. I'm not trying to put them in the Cobra clutch. They need some breathing room. This is not to just body slam white folks, Superman punch. We not. I need some legitimate questions. I need some legitimate concerns. I need some things that you feel that you think they may be able to answer, or how they experience it, or ask them if they actually experience it. What exactly does that mean to them? I need you to submit all that stuff to me. All that stuff. So I can know what is appropriate to ask, what's not appropriate to ask. Let me know. So, with that being said, I thank you guys. Of course, let's do this officially the way we need to. There we go. So, guys, thank you. Of course, this is gonna be the end of my show right now. Hopefully, you enjoyed it. This was a bit, like I said, spontaneous. I didn't really have anything going on. I didn't even expect to really share a little bit what my thought process is and how I do my analysis, my initial analysis, not a deep dive into my head. Some of y'all who've been in the back chat with me before in other shows, you know how crazy my mic can get. Hopefully you appreciate everything in the show. If you haven't already, please, guys, like the actual channel, subscribe if you haven't already, and of course, share this type of material and entertainment if you find it entertaining to people who might actually want to engage in having their particular perspectives enlightened. Let's look at it that way. Guys, I typically don't mind, but you do whatever you gotta do. We're still early in the game, but everything that I do receive does actually go to the channel itself, so it doesn't go into my actual pockets or doing anything else. But you can feel free to reach out to actually donate anything if you wish, which is of course to hashtag at my Cash App, which is $sign. Sorry, I said hashtag $sign Resla Opinionated, and of course the PayPal, which is also going to be at Resla2. Despite the fact that it's really burning hot in here, I don't know what's going on in this place, even with AC. AC's been really loud of late. I don't know. I gotta check it out. But I really enjoyed this show. I enjoyed everybody who had their time. Thank you for everybody who did participate in the chat. I do appreciate that, of course. I'm going to bounce around for a little bit to see what's going on the internet, because for some reason, as crazy as my algorithm is looking, I see a lot of people are having discussions online. And you never know what might stimulate the mind to have some good episodes for the future. Thank you for actually engaging in the poll so that I can have a good focus on what I need to put my time into so I can make it engaging for you guys. If you haven't, say you catch us on the repeat, be sure to actually write down in the comment sections. I don't know why people need to ask this, especially because I'm not blowing up right now, but I look at every single comment. I respond in some way, which shape or form to every comment. So don't feel shy about that. Not at all. I do appreciate you guys for actually being here, and I will actually see you on the next one. Oh, let me just do this right now since I don't do this enough. Hold on. Oh, it's actually not up there, so I can't do it. Hold on. You know what? I don't know why this is not coming up, but I thought I had my banner. My banner must be misplaced. My banner pretty much just says that I always do this every week, which is on Wednesdays, 4 p.m. Eastern, and also on Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. I'll have to figure out why that didn't work. Technical stuff. You know, I'm a one-man show. That's all I can say. Outside of that, OG's got his show coming up, so be sure to actually take a look at that. You scroll back to the top because I don't have him on link or anything. Guys, he's got his show coming up today, so be sure to check that out. It's going to be happening at 8 p.m. Well, no, we going in early. No, me, I'm going too early. But he's got his 8 p.m. show showing up. So he's also got a movie night that's going to be coming up, so be sure to check it out. Who knows what the hell the guest is going to be on that, because no one ever guessed what the hell weird movies that OG might be coming with. It might be a brain teaser, it might be a scary one, it might be one that scars you for life. You never know when it comes to OG. Outside of that, I will give you back the rest of your time. Guys, stay opinionated, and I'll see you on the next one.